in Charles I, the book's shortest essay. Liebling's good fortune, and ours, rests in the fact that the New Yorker of his day trusted its top writers to expound upon whatever inspired them. While the Sweet Science focuses mostly on title fights, the outcome is less important than the route Liebling takes to get there. So he toddles over to Ireland for a modest bout simply because it's being held in the town that gave its name to every all-out brawl, Donnybrook. Such whimsy is rarely visible in today's celebrity and scandal-driven market, where every article must reduce to a one-sentence idea, and fact is king. The rare opportunities writers have to treat their subjects goes a long way toward explaining their compressed, overheated prose. They know they aren't likely to get the chance again and only have a few thousand words to fit everything in. By contrast, the Liebling pace is leisurely. What he can't treat in one essay can be easily taken up in the next. Themes evolve and intertwine throughout the 18 pieces. Celebrities are disdained, scandals absent. By the time Sonny Liston became heavyweight champion in 1962, he had attracted notoriety equal to that of Mike Tyson today, yet Liebling barely refers to Liston's criminal past. The rough champion is humanized through his exchanges with the sympathetic Liebling. The obvious goes unmentioned. To most contemporary Americans, the customs and traditions of fighters appear as bizarre and savage as those of Kandangai headhunters. In the 1950s, however, boxing was much closer to the general public. This familiarity, and Liebling's own boxing experience, allowed him to represent the sport as sport. His stance toward its sometimes disturbing violence might seem blasé to us, as when he describes Ezra Charles's disfigurement at the hands of Rocky Marciano. But Liebling saw boxing as the pros do, a job, more difficult than most, but also more rewarding. He doesn't make the ring over into the setting for a morality play or an alternate site for Armageddon. He had witnessed the real thing on the battlefields of Europe. This is not to say that Liebling didn't take boxing seriously. As far as he was concerned, boxing deserved to be called science. He understood the intellectual and physical effort necessary to master the craft. Although he recognized the brute force of a Marciano, he preferred technicians to sluggers, a suitable predilection for one of the great stylists of his generation. Hence his disapproval of Ingemar Johansson's lax training methods and his appreciation of the shrewd old artist Archie Moore, whom he called a boxer's boxer, as Stendhal was for a long time a writer's writer. Liebling rarely covered unproven fighters, but his eye for talent was acute enough to recognize, in late 1961, the aura around a brash young heavyweight named Cassius Clay. He also enjoyed Clay's verbal prowess. Liebling knew he was covering a sport in decline. He had watched boxing descend from a pinnacle in the 1920s, when it rivaled baseball as a national pastime, and Jack Dempsey garnered more headlines than Babe Ruth. Even during the Depression-era doldrums of 1938, New York City counted more than 1,000 registered professional boxers who performed weekly at 7 city clubs, while amateurs fought as often as every other day for prizes that could easily be pawned, a useful quality in the 20th century's worst economic crisis. When Liebling returned to the beat 14 years later, New York had only 241 pros. All but one of the clubs had shut down, and the old Madison Square Garden, world capital of boxing, was a ghost kingdom with spectral tiers of empty seats. Liebling's prose is shaded by the recognition that his time is passing. Time hangs over all of us, but it strikes no one more swiftly than boxers, who can become old men in 3 minutes. Even the great champions, men who have defeated every other opponent, are helpless against this threat. The Sweet Science opens with the last stand of Joe Louis, hero of Liebling's young manhood, and closes with a 39-year-old, at least, Archie Moore succumbing to Marciano. The succession of title holders is the central story of prize fighting, and no reign ends without bloodshed. Liebling's sympathies rest with the old men in their futile struggle. His terse sentences on Lewis's downfall are the most affecting in the book. With a self-proclaimed insatiable nostalgia for the past, Liebling is perfectly suited to the task of eulogizing the fighters of his youth. His nostalgia, however, encompasses more than a fading generation of fighters. A much larger world was disappearing, that blue-collar urban America.